Making English muffins from scratch isn't one of the easiest yeast bread recipes you can make, but it's also not one of the most difficult, and it is, like everything else homemade, really much better when you do it yourself. I'm going to show you how to mix up the dough, which is fairly simple. I'm doing this in my stand mixer. If you have a bread machine, you can do it in that. In my mixer bowl, I have 7 cups of flour, and what I like to do is just add the dry ingredients first. Okay, that's half a cup of powdered milk, 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, and 1 tablespoon of yeast. In the measuring cup here, I have 2 cups of really warm water, and I'm just going to add 1/4 of a cup of softened butter to that. That just helps it to incorporate a little bit easier. You can see that I've kind of sliced it up into a few little chunks. That'll help it blend better when we get it in the mixer bowl. After you've got the dry ingredients mixed in, pour in your warm water with the butter, and then add your cup of sourdough starter. Now, using the dough hook on your machine, you're just going to mix everything together until it's blended. Like I said, you can use your bread machine for this, and if so, just put all your ingredients in the order specified in your manual and then just hit the dough cycle. If you're using your stand mixer, I want to show you a little bit what the dough looks like when it comes together. Okay, as the dough comes together, it starts to pull away from the sides of the machine a little bit. And if we can come up a little bit on top, you can see how it's kind of shaggy right now, but it's going to come together in a smooth ball. Okay, the dough is starting to come together and get a little bit smoother, and that's what you're looking for. Once it all comes together up from the sides of the bowl, you'll get a smooth finish from it instead of having all these kind of rough, shaggy edges. And then you're going to switch your mixer off, cover this with a towel, and let it rise for anywhere from 1 to 2 hours. Alternatively, instead of letting it rise for 2 hours at room temperature, you could make this ahead of time, cover it with cling film, and put it in your refrigerator to rise overnight. If you do that, you'll get a much more tangy sourdough taste from it, and then you can shape it and let it do the second rise in the morning. Okay, we've got a nicely risen English muffin dough, and I've rolled it out into a big log and then cut that log in half, and each one of those halves in half again lengthwise, and I'm shaping the English muffins. You're going to be working with about a 2-ounce piece of dough for each one. If you want to measure that like I've done, you can do that. You can just weigh it on the scale. Take one of the pieces of dough and you're going to make a nice round ball. You're going to place it on the heel of your hand, cup it with your other hand, and while you're turning it with these fingers, you're going to be cupping it under with your thumb. I'm going to do it kind of slowly at first so you can see. I turn it with my top hand, and I'm always tucking the dough under with my thumb, and that's how you get a nice even ball. This is a good way to practice shaping your rolls. It's the same method you use for shaping dinner rolls. Once you get the nice round ball, put this on your floured surface, and you're just going to flatten it out with your hands gently, like a little mini pizza kind of. Over here I have a baking tray that I've dusted with cornmeal, and you can see that I've got some of the English muffins already on it. Once you get each one formed, just lift it up and place it on the baking tray. You're going to do this for each one of the English muffins, and then you're going to cover the whole tray with cling film and let the muffins rise a second time for anywhere between 30 minutes to maybe about an hour. Once they are all risen, then I'll show you how to bake them, but I'm just going to continue on with this. You're going to get 24 English muffins out of this recipe. Okay, now you can see that our tray of English muffins is risen and really puffy. What I've done is preheated an electric griddle to about 325 to 350. You can use your stove, just put it on a low to medium heat. And you need a non-stick surface for this because you're not putting any oil in the pan. Okay, all you're going to do is gently pick these up. I've put some flour on my fish spatula so that it doesn't stick to the dough, and just lay them on the surface. Now remember, I've got this electric griddle preheated to somewhere between 325 and 350. You're just going to have to play with yours to see. The goal of this is to get the English muffins to cook through to the middle before they brown on the outside, which is a little like what you have to do with pancakes too. The difference is this takes much longer. It actually is going to take about 5 to 8 minutes per side to get these done. If you have a probe thermometer, you're looking for an internal temperature when you stick it in the side of about 190 degrees. Okay, after about 5 minutes, you can see these are starting to firm up on the top side, and what I want you to see is what they look like on the bottom. That's the color you're looking for. Those are ready to flip. Okay. Continue checking them and flipping them as they're ready. Be a little bit gentle with them at this point. You can see the sides are starting to cook a little bit, but the top is very raw still. So flip that over. And now you're going to continue cooking these for about another 5 minutes on this side. Okay, it's been about another 5 minutes on this side, so let's check them and see what they're looking like. That one is a little bit light again. It's probably that spot where it is on the griddle, because if you take a look at this one, it's completely golden brown. And now, just to be certain, I'm going to take my probe thermometer and just insert it into the side here and check the temperature. Actually, by sticking the probe in there, I can feel that it's a little bit doughy. But again, you're going to toast these, so you don't need them to be as done as like just a regular loaf of bread. A regular loaf of bread, you'd want to get a little bit higher, maybe 190, 200. These are right at 190 degrees on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and say that one's done. If you wanted to just be a little bit sure, you could flip it on there and do another minute or so, but what I'm going to do is change positions with that one. Okay, you can see that one's nice and brown. So we can go ahead and start taking these off and putting them on our cooling rack. This is a fun thing to learn to make, and I hope you'll try it. These freeze really well, and you can keep them on hand to make your own mini pizzas, even your own freezer egg muffin sandwiches. Enjoy this and look for more recipes from Hippos and Hash Browns.